There have been a number of questions that people have had for Spyro A Realm Beyond. It's been about 2 months since we've got the reveal, and there's still some things that we haven't really heard much about. And today I want to try to answer at least some of the burning questions that you guys have. Let's talk about it.
Whoa!
What's up guys, Canadian Guy here, and I am back with another Spyro A Realm Beyond video. I decided to take all the comments from my recent Spyro A Realm Beyond coverage and all the comments and kind of put them together and aggregate them and try to figure out what were the most asked questions and then try to figure out, can I answer them in some way, shape, or form? Now, some questions I can actually flat out answer, while others require some guesswork or backing up. And there's even one that I actually reached out to Activision to directly comment on, and yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But without further ado, let's begin. First question, where's Sparx? A lot of people have been asking where Sparx is. We don't see him in the cinematic trailer, and we don't see him in the gameplay snippet. So does that mean that Sparx is gone? Will A Realm Beyond be Sparxless? Well, I don't have a concrete answer, but I do have a hint. During a private Q&A with Toys for Bob, a question about Sparx was actually proposed. And Lou Studdert answered this by saying, quote, "We'll be talking more about the narrative of the game at a later time. Stay tuned." Which actually gives us a tiny nugget of information. The implication is actually straightforward. Sparx hasn't been outright forgotten and seems to be involved in some way in regards to the lore or the story of the game. So this can imply that Sparx may have a bigger role than he's had in previous games. Or maybe Sparx is trapped and Spyro has to save him. Or maybe, and I would hate to say this, Sparx is gone and he's dead. I mean, if you think about it, none of the other adult dragons have dragonflies, and yet they know how they're used and why they're there, even more than Spyro does.
Keep your horns on, Spyro! You have much to learn first. Do you know what the dragonfly following you is doing? His name is Sparx, and he's helping and protecting you. Keep an eye on him and see what I mean.
It could be that dragons, when they are young or first born, get dragonflies. And then when the dragon becomes of age, the dragonfly passes away, which, yes, is completely and utterly depressing. However, there is another reason that could include a lack of Sparx and actually ties to our next question. Will classic characters return? Many people have wondered if we're going to see familiar faces return. So while Toys for Bob, of course, hasn't confirmed anything, I did find some nuggets of information that may give us at least some answers. When you look at the game's description, it says, "Take flight in a brand new journey through a strange and wondrous realm. When Spyro, TM, finds himself stranded, his journey to discover a way home is interrupted by the arrival of a vicious invading force known as the Scavs. Spyro, TM, must make new allies and rise to protect this realm before it's changed forever." So Spyro is stranded in a brand new realm, and then that new realm is invaded by the Scavs. And it clearly states that Spyro must make new allies. Implications here are pushing that Spyro is going to meet new colorful cast of characters that are native to this new realm. Having said that, does that mean that we won't see any classic characters? No, I'm not saying that, but with the setting being a brand new world that Spyro has trapped himself in, those classic characters would also have to be trapped in the realm as well. And the wording of it seems to imply only Spyro got stuck. And because of that, the wording is also posturing itself to imply that there's probably going to be more new characters than actual old classics, which ties back to our Sparx scenario. It's possible that Spyro made it over to the new realm, but not Sparx. But what's a Spyro game without Sparx? I'm just spitballing here, but I wanted to at least get as close to an answer as possible with the information that we currently have. It's also possible Spyro may meet a new small companion who works similar in the fashion of Sparx. We will just have to see. Now, to the next question. Will Stuart Copeland be back to do the soundtrack? This answer is short and not sweet. It's quite bitter, actually. No! Stuart Copeland at this moment in time is not back for Spyro A Realm Beyond. Is it possible that he might be back for making a new intro like he did for Spyro Reignited? Maybe. But all in all, Stuart Copeland is, at the time of making this video, not back for Spyro A Realm Beyond. The next question is it a flight simulator? This question is also kind of bundled in with the same questions that are like, is it endless flight? Is it set to GPS and fly? Is there no platforming? The answer overall is no. No, it is not that. In fact, here is a clip of Paul Yan and Lou Studdert from the Kinda Funny podcast breaking that down.
To keep going.
It's super important for us that the player is able to say, look at that thing off in the distance. How do I get there? And then how do I leverage the environment around me and my abilities in order to do that? Because what we don't want is for it to be a flight simulator where we say, okay, here's the destination, hit in the GPS, and we're going to coast and get there. There's no fun in that.
No autopilot.
Right? No autopilot. We want active decision making, and that's, platforming as a term in this flight space is a little bit different than platforming like jumping on the ground. But similarly, we want that kind of decision making to happen.
So this should hopefully quell many of your guys' questions in regards to it being an auto flight sim. The next question is it canonically Spyro 4? So Toys for Bob have both tiptoed this line in one way and used a heavy sledgehammer in another. The elephant in the room is that why isn't it called Spyro 4 when Crash Bandicoot's most recent mainline game was called Crash Bandicoot 4? Well, here's the answer that Toys for Bob have said. While it is not called Spyro 4, the Spyro Reignited trilogy is the springboard that leads into this game. Also, Crash Bandicoot 4 required a bit of previous knowledge of the previous games to be able to fully grasp what was happening within the actual plot. Spyro A Realm Beyond, though will be chock full of references to a number of different Spyro games through the years, does not require any or much knowledge from previous titles. It's in fact been commented that this could be someone's very first Spyro game, and they don't need to be able to play any of the previous titles to know what's going on. However, when Paul was explaining this, he also made sure that people understood that Skylanders is seen as something completely different from the original Spyro titles.
Turn to that at some point. But the Skylanders universe and Spyro A Realm Beyond, completely different universes. Yeah. So we just want to make sure that there's a really clear line between those two, even though Spyro does exist in different forms there. In my head, they are very different universes, very different characters. And so I think indirectly there's maybe lessons that we've learned or there's tonality that can be brought about.
Now, in my opinion, I do think they are trying to soften the blow a little bit and be quite respectful to all the other games that came, especially after A Year of the Dragon. And yes, even the one that's currently considered as technically Spyro 4, even though I like the Spyro forget that it exists to begin with. But saying that Spyro Reignited, which is based off of the original 3 games, is a springboard into Spyro A Realm Beyond, reading between the lines, yes, this is, with a 98% certainty, canonically Spyro 4. Next question is it still a collect-a-thon? So this opens a hypothetical box that I think I could do a whole dedicated video on. But let me just crack that box open just a little bit. When it comes to games in this era, I think collect-a-thon is a bit of a broad stroke term. Personally, when I think of collect-a-thon, the gold standard is Banjo-Kazooie. That game is a collect-a-thon without a doubt. But would I consider Crash Bandicoot a collect-a-thon? Kind of. It does have collectibles, but Crash Bandicoot's mission statement has always been tight platforming and challenging levels. Simply said, it's all about getting to the end of the level. The bonus gems, or the number of Wumpa collected, is kind of a secondary mission. Banjo-Kazooie, on the other hand, is all about collecting various kinds of items, sometimes 5 different types, and that's not including mission-specific items. You can't even get to the next level if you don't have enough jiggies, so reaching the end of the level isn't really the only main mission in Banjo-Kazooie. Spyro, on the other hand, sits right in the middle, where exploration is very important, but so is completing the level. The original games only had you to keep track of 2 or 3 collectibles each game, and one of those staples was gems. And with that said, we can confirm that gems will return, as they have been shown off in the background of the CGI trailer. All this to say, it will most likely still have that Spyro collection adventure thrill, but not be a big old collectathon like Banjo-Kazooie, as it never was a giant collectathon to begin with, in my opinion. Finally, we have one of the most asked questions because of ye old PlayStation and their announcement of essentially nuking the physical market. Will the game have a physical release? For this one, because of how nuclear it has become in discussions, as a member of Team Spyro and just someone within the Spyro space, I actually physically reached out to Activision through the channels that I have been provided to give comment on this. And unfortunately, even after several emails, I have not received comment about this specific situation, which of course sucks because it is a genuine concern that many people do have. So for this segment, I'm going to give you the reasoning why I believe it will have a physical release, and if it currently is something that's being debated internally at Activision, which would explain why I didn't get an answer for what I perceive to be a pretty simple question. Let this segment also be an explanation as to why it should have a physical release. So take this as a 2-for-1. See, I have data to back up what I'm talking about. Want to know what the biggest age group is for my entire channel? 25 to 34-year-olds. Want to know the percentile of that age range for my Spyro A Realm Beyond content thus far? 70%. 70% of all people watching my Spyro A Realm Beyond videos are aged between 25 to 34. Also note, I'm in this demographic as I'm currently 31. Why is that important? Because the majority of people still buying physical games are this exact demographic. We still browse the shelves at GameStop's, Walmart's looking for sales and stuff, but don't take my word for it. Why don't we actually take a look at Activision? More specifically, Crash Bandicoot and Crash Team Rumble. See, Crash Team Rumble was an exclusively online multiplayer game. Most people would have thought this game would be exclusively digital, and yet it was given a physical release. So why do you think that happened? Well, it's simple actually. Crash Bandicoot as an IP and as a brand stands out to people to the current 25 to 34 demographic. The people who are browsing the shelves at a game store, seeing a Crash Bandicoot title, something from their era of gaming, would give them pause to stop and at least look and check it out to see what the game is about, which may even sell them. The exact same mindset should be brought for Spyro A Realm Beyond, as Crash and Spyro are brother IPs and have the exact same age demographic. So if Activision is willing to print Rumble, they should also be able to print Spyro A Realm Beyond. And of course, the whole game ownership thing and being able to have your own physical copy of the games, that's a whole conundrum as well that I agree with, that we should be able to hold on to a copy of our own games, but that's neither here nor there. Now, if I do get an official update in any way directly from Activision, I will make a follow-up video, short, and or have a pinned comment in the comment section below. While you're down there checking, if you still have unanswered questions, leave them below and I will try my best to see if we can try to answer them in a follow-up video. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.